Air, earth, fire, loyalty. Long ago, the four wives lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Phoenix wife demanded more. Only the patriarch, husband to all four elements, could play fair. But when the OG wives needed him most, he vanished. 18 seasons passed, and we have discovered the new star, an airbender named Christine. And although her cooking spinoff is just okay, she has a lot to live up to before she's ready to save anything. But I believe Christine can save this show.
Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Angie, this is my husband Tim, and we are recapping from A Flower Farm.
This is the hypothetical Tata farm?
Not the actual Tata farms, because I don't know if Janelle, Caleb, and Maddie have cultivated anything yet.
It's pretty though.
I don't have any announcements.
Good.
Let's get into the episode. Sister Wives Season 19, Episode 6. He delivered me from all my fears.
If I had to guess, I would say this is probably a psalm.
So who do you think this title is alluding to?
Probably David.
Yeah, because the other he in question is probably going to multiply your fears.
Also, it's probably written by David.
The psalm.
Yeah, so that's also kind of...
King David. Cool, so double meaning.
Yay.
We start off in good old Flagstaff. Jingle Bells plays as they show the Robin family spending Christmas together. Kody declares that this is the first Christmas where it is solely going to be him, Robin, and their 5 with no one else visiting them. Because last year, they technically were sort of by themselves as well, but people came on different days, and of course there was Meri. Up in Salt Lake, Christine is surrounded by her grandchildren, her kids, and her children-in-law. We see Avalon don a pink dinosaur costume.
Adorable.
Isabel unwraps a personalized bobblehead of herself. I thought that was funny. I think the reference for the figurine was her prom pictures, because she was also wearing a blue gown. Anyways, Mykelti voices that this Christmas isn't what she's used to, since there isn't the chaos of 50+ relatives in one room.
I think this is better.
I thought there was still a lot of people, but I can see her point.
When I was a kid, we would go to my grandma's house for Christmas, and we had at least 30 people there. I remember we'd always all sleep in the living room on the ground. If you had to go to the bathroom, you had to step over other people. We only did that 2 or 3 times when I was a kid.
And then parents got tired of driving all the way to your grandparents every year.
Yep. Yep, down in good old Panguitch,
Utah.
Utah.
Mykelti gets very nostalgic, saying the Christmas contributions of each mom are absent due to their broken family. On the East Coast, Janelle is spending the holidays with Savannah, Maddie, Caleb, and the grandkids. She has accepted that these smaller get-togethers will be the new norm.
I mean, that's kind of normal. As your family gets older, they're not all going to be centralized anymore.
So much for a centralized Brown family Christmas every year.
Besides, didn't Kody hate Christmas?
He did, but then I guess Robin got him to see the light.
So the Christmases everybody's remembering fondly were the ones after Robin showed up.
They're reminiscing about the big Christmases when they were allowed to spend money. Unlike Thanksgiving, Meri informs us that she actually spent Christmas with friends. She went up to Salt Lake to be with her old friend and babysitter, Lisa, and another longtime friend named Amber.
Good for Meri.
Meri reiterates the same sentiments in that now that her release is official, she has made the right decision to not be a third wheel to Robin and Kody's Christmas. Meri'd rather spend that time with people that enjoy her company. That makes perfect sense because, again, whenever Meri was there, Kody would keep complaining that he couldn't be all over Robin.
Yes, I can imagine Kody doesn't like it when his desires are being stymied.
He likes to use that word too, stymied.
Oh, yeah?
I feel stymied because everything we've done has always had to be by committee.
Despite not being with any of her family, Meri says that people evolve and, like the other OG wives, has welcomed the change.
Meri in this episode has displayed an emotional growth that this is just hinting at. She's coming to terms with stuff in a big way. It's very impressive.
Just wait till we get to the end. You'll see more of that Meri evolution. Moving on, Aspen reveals that Christine has been dating. What we learned is that, yes, Christine has been sampling some ice cream flavors. In other words, she has dated multiple men before David entered the picture. The liberated woman describes one of these men. He was very religious, which confused her as to how they even matched in the first place. In order to scare him off, she revealed that she was an ex-polygamist. That worked. The second man she dated was completely clueless about polygamy. Christine didn't appreciate that and wrote him off. She describes his reaction as serious.
I don't know how you can live in Utah and not know what polygamy is.
Yeah, maybe she thought he was lying.
Maybe he wasn't from Utah.
Oh, you'd figure that the matches would be local, no?
Maybe. She hired a matchmaker. I don't know.
We then transition into the topic of dating, but for the other woman. Meri is anxious about it due to being in her early 50s and the fact she was part of a polygamous dynamic for 3 decades. Her biggest fear are potential suitors thinking she still wants the plig life.
She can just say, not interested in polygamy stuff.
Like, I don't want sister wives. So, fear, gone.
Yeah, I know, right?
Janelle repeats that she is not interested in dating. Her new man better come with flashing neon signs or else she will not even bother. We know Janelle.
Exactly what we'd expect from Janelle.
Christine sits down her 2 eldest daughters and their spouses in order to tell them the news. Surprise! She has a boyfriend now.
How did they keep it secret for so long?
We had no idea she was dating somebody. This was such a big surprise.
Seriously.
She and David were talking for a month before they decided to meet up in person. I thought that was a pretty long time to decide to meet up with someone.
Yeah.
I guess she was super cautious due to her past dates, which we find out was 8 men. This might explain why she moved things super fast after meeting him in person. We'll get to that part. Mykelti and Tony like David. Tony brings up the fact that he's a widower and that he survived without turning to gambling and drugs.
I get the impression that Tony has seen this kind of self-destructive behavior before. So yeah, David didn't do that. Good on David.
Yeah, I can't imagine how painful that would be to lose your spouse. David's late wife passed away 11 years ago when their youngest was barely 6. Tony commends his future stepfather-in-law for raising 8 decent kids by himself.
No small task.
Christine says that now that she has dated 8 guys, she has a good picture of what she wants in a partner. Tony jokes that she needs to pump those numbers up to double digits.
Oh, Tony. He's got to push the
ice cream samples to the Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors. Truly is then grilled by Mykelti if she likes this new person. The 12-year-old has to look up from her book to say that David is funny and she gets along well with him. Tony then says something uncalled for. He says David reminds him of Kody.
Oh, wrong thing to say there, Tony.
Mykelti's eyes widen in disbelief. Tony's reasoning is that both men tend to say boomer stuff. Mykelti disagrees that David is a boomer. According to Parents.com, the site that shows the years of which generation is which, David is supposedly born in 1963, which would put him at the tail end of the boomer generation. Christine is 8 years younger, which would put her square in the middle of Gen X. So yes, Tony is right. Tony brings up the Cold War to imply Christine and David were present during that time. He's not incorrect. The Cold War started in 1945 and lasted for 45 years. So it ended around the early 90s or late 80s. Historians still can't pinpoint an exact year, but yeah, that would very much cover the time in which David grew up. There is a short segment of the parents reminiscing about their teenagehood of growing up in the 80s.
Why? We don't care.
Kody refers to themselves as the feral generation. He gets all nostalgic about the singers of that time. He then gets melancholy about another singer. We'll get to that part. It is now Isabel's turn to give her opinion of her mom's new boyfriend. She is a bit slow to warm up to David due to Christine having been single for just a short amount of time. Upon hearing about this opinion, Mykelti gets defensive. She pipes up, saying she proposed to Tony barely 2 months into their courtship. Isabel makes it a point to say that she is referring to their mother and not Mykelti. I will say, Mykelti, that is also extremely fast. Tony proposed to Mykelti on camera when they knew each other for 5 months, give or take a few months. But goodness, under 2 months. Yeah, that is fast. But again, not everything is about you. So chill out, girl.
Mykelti is just being Mykelti, I guess. She loves to be the center of attention.
I understand why they're in so many segments, and it's because most of the kids don't want to be filmed, so they're what's left. And I'm just thinking,
Also, I think that it makes more sense for Mykelti and Tony to get together quicker than David and
Christine. I guess because Tony and Mykelti were technically attending a young Mormon single adult ward at that time.
Because they'd known each other for months and months.
Well, they didn't know each other for months. They knew each other for 2 months.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was 5. Wait, oh, it's under 2 months? Never mind. Maybe they're worried that Christine is doing a rebound.
Yes.
And that's the concern, that maybe she's not thinking this out well enough.
But then again, if she and David were talking for a month, that also adds to the time. But again, a month is still super short, so... Christine says that due to her and Kody never being super affectionate, the idea that her and David being lovey-dovey will be something new for her kids to witness. And I'm with Isabel and Peyton. I appreciate Christine and David really liking each other, but I don't need to see my own parents being super affectionate. I'm just thinking of the time Christine gave David a lap dance during their wedding. That made everyone uncomfortable, but Christine is happy, so good on you.
I would say that if this is what makes Christine happy, she's been through some stuff. She really was robbed of being a young person. So if she wants to act like a
teenager,
I say go for it, Christine.
Janelle and Meri express that PDA should have a limit. Janelle is uncomfortable with it, and Meri says that people who are like that need to get a room. Kody used to hate PDA since his plural wives didn't like it. But now that he's monogamous, he is comfortable showing affection despite Robin's shyness.
I think that PDA is just harder in a polygamist thing, because all these women are already fighting for the man's attention, and...
I think I remember for Janelle's birthday in season 2, they went to Arches National Park, and that's when Kody said that he's very comfortable with PDA, and that's when Janelle revealed she's a little more shy. But I guess somewhere along the lines, he started to hate PDA for anyone but Robin.
I can see why. Regardless of whether or not Kody never loved the OG 3 wives, or whether or not it slowly tapered off, he eventually got to the point where he just was not willing to engage in that kind of stuff with these women.
Well, now that Meri is not there, Kody can have all the horny Christmases that he's always wanted. Christine confesses that she said, "I love you," when she and David were only dating for a week. She describes in detail of how that moment went. She pretends to high-five Mykelti to low-key boast she is even more impulsive than her.
Christine dragged Mykelti through the coals for this.
For their short courtship.
If I was Mykelti, I would not be super happy with Christine in this moment.
She brings it up, obviously, as you recall in the wedding special.
He's cool enough that I guess you can marry him. But it's a little soon. It was kind of early. It's a little soon? You should probably wait until December. Oh, I see what you're doing. Shots fired. Tony and I met in October, and then the following year in March, we got engaged, and then we wanted to get married in August, and they were like, no, you guys haven't known each other long enough. David and my mom, so almost parents, have only known each other for a year. They're getting married in 2 days.
I've been telling everybody we met a year ago, but it's not true. We met 11 months ago. And I told all of my kids that we met a year ago. Shh, don't tell my children, because I told them they had to wait a year.
We call them hypocrites.
Me? We're supposed to say, I need more time to get to know David better.
We don't know him.
We don't know him.
We're not there yet.
He's not from the polygamous family.
We'll get there.
More time passes. Christine has plans for another date with her boyfriend. She tells a story back when she was still a polygamist. Her therapist, Nancy, suggested that Christine compile a list of attributes of what she would like in Kody. She really wanted him to be a good communicator, very present, someone who enjoyed being around her and her children, and found her attractive. Unfortunately, Kody didn't fulfill any of these, and he later even admitted to that.
Cody's over 4 on that one.
Fortunately, Christine got the memo that she should get out of there. We learn more things about David. He loves his family, he owns his own drywall construction business, and has a reputation of being genuine. After the passing of his late wife, David did try to date, but was unenthused by the experience. He gave up 8 years into it. Since his dating profile was still up, Christine messaged him a few years later, and here they are today.
Or here they are 2 years ago.
Yes. Oh my gosh, why is this so behind? Christine was apprehensive after the first couple of dates due to him not kissing her nor holding her hand. She was convinced she was already friend-zoned. David thought things were progressing smoothly, only to find out Christine was pretty aggressive about affection. To make up for those first couple of dates with no kissing, the third was all about that. He describes that date as a makeout session.
In this episode, Christine kind of comes off as Tina Belcher from
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, she's a hormonal teenager in this episode, and
it's hard to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
This is giving me the last one-on-one Suki question vibes when they went on and on about making out.
You know, like you said that Kody didn't like kissing you.
No, I was super scared to be kissed. I just felt like I wouldn't be a good kisser at all, because Kody didn't like kissing me. He just didn't like it.
No, she's a great kisser. Great kisser. Yes.
And practice makes perfect, right?
Yes.
No problem.
What made you think that he didn't like kissing you? He was married to you for so long.
I just knew, you know. He'd be like, what do you want to do for birthday? And I'm like, let's just go make out somewhere. He's like, nah, let's not do that. And it just was never kissing just for fun. And kissing doesn't have to lead to something. You don't have to have sex just because you're going to be making out. And so we just never did. And I was wanted to, but he never did. And so I knew.
Do you guys have good making out sessions?
Yeah, we're great.
He's looking at me like, Sukanya, did you really ask that question?
Like, we get it. You guys are very amorous for each other. They arrive at a restaurant. David discloses that he is very attracted to Christine. He likes how she interacts with her kids and how crazy she is. They continue complimenting one another. It was at this point you said he talks in a very monotone voice.
Yes, he talks very much like this. I am very fond of you, Christine Brown.
I didn't think that his voice was high, just the fact that there was just no up and down cadence when he talked.
It's interesting.
Christine is just happy to not be threatened by other women, a perpetual thought she harbored as a polygamist.
You can see that Christine is deconstructing.
She's revealing more of her true thoughts about polygamy.
Well, maybe it's not even just true thoughts, but these are her actual thoughts that she had suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
She had always thought of the other wives as a threat and competition, but she didn't allow herself to say it out loud. Again, this is what deconstruction means. It's when you discover real things and how it's affected you and who you are.
It's good that Christine is learning. She is elated to have someone to kiss come New Year's Eve. She compares her joy of being around David to Kody's joy of being around Robin. Christine asserts that when a polygamist man finds a soulmate in only one of his wives, it makes it harder to pinpoint what the other wives' roles are in his big picture. This is the same sentiment she said last season.
Suki, at one point, I remember where I was. I was standing in my kitchen, and I thought, this is how Kody feels about Robin. How I feel about David is how Kody and Robin feel about each other. Oh, well, then I would never want to leave. I would never want to go to somebody else's house. They deserve to be happy. Go be happy with each other, for goodness sakes. Be happy with each other. Let the rest of us go. Let us go. Stop being angry. And then we can all get along again.
And that Kody needed to be honest with all of them and let them go once he realized he only cared about Robin.
Hard agree.
The date continues. David says he is 100% on board with Christine. And he's also 100% good with being another side character for this train wreck of a show. Because that's part of the deal when you decide to marry any of these people. You're going to become a public figure.
That would be a red flag for most people, I suppose.
We've seen Meri date men. Them being on the show is probably a huge deal breaker. We segue back to North Carolina. Janelle, Maddie, and Caleb are solving a jigsaw puzzle. They deliberate on what property would be best for a future home. Caleb refers to this land as a possible location where they could build their house together. And when he said that, he motioned to Janelle as well, so I guess he and Maddie agreed that Janelle is going to live with them, which I thought was cool. Janelle's going to be near family all the time then.
Yeah.
The former second wife plans to, quote, hobby farm. She says she doesn't intend for it to be more than that since they aren't real farmers. That idea must have evolved into an official business because clearly she started a flower company. That would certainly require you to be a real farmer. We've said this before. Janelle has a tendency to romanticize the outdoor life a lot. She did it with her RV. That didn't work out. In the book, she tried to be in a teepee. That didn't work out either.
She didn't even get a day in.
I'm just going to read that particular passage. This is from Janelle's part of Becoming Sisterwives. I decided it would be a good idea to spend some time living closer to nature, as Native Americans once had. I bought a teepee and quit my job, intending to camp in my teepee for as long as I could bear it. Kody's father had lots of open space on his ranch and offered to let me camp on his land. I got to Wyoming in November. Cold weather had settled in a while back, and the temperatures in Wyoming are biting and unbearable. Despite this, I was determined. It was below freezing when I got my camp set up. I didn't last a single night. It was so cold that after only a few hours, I was back in the house. In one of my comments, someone mentioned that there is a lot of repetitive work involved when it comes to a flower farm.
Or any kind of farm.
You have to deal with bug invasions and the possibility that the mechanical work can just shut down. Granted, Caleb might be shouldering a lot of the physical labor, so Janelle doesn't have to overexert herself. So hopefully, Tata Farms is successful.
Hopefully.
Janelle intends for Kody to buy her out so she is free of Coyote Pass, but the dilly-dallying man is slow to action. His reasoning is due to not having the money. Janelle suggested he take out a loan to finance her out. We know they eventually pay the land off, so I'm gonna skip over all this. The former wife does say something weird. She says that she had some sort of epiphany after they moved to Vegas, where she decided that she wouldn't just sit around and wait for Kody in order to get things done. This was a strange sentence since we know that Janelle eventually followed Kody to Flagstaff after she was initially very much against it due to not wanting to upend her children's lives again. But okay, you still followed him to Flagstaff, but you're not going to wait on him too? Doesn't make any sense.
This is just classic Janelle, where she says one thing, but she ends up doing another.
I don't know.
At least Janelle sorted it out now.
We get to the final segment of the episode. Kody and Meri are going to discuss their divorce for clarification. This conversation occurred before the Christmas scenes, so we are not in chronological order.
That should be the assumption of every episode.
I'm going to need a lot of insight from you, Tim. I need Robin here as my Kody translator because I don't understand half of what he's spouting this episode.
I'll try.
Before he even enters the house, Baldylocks asserts that Meri keeps gaslighting him about how she feels about certain things. He doesn't know where she's at, ever. Kody is biting his lip, dreading this conversation.
This must be a contractually obligated interaction because I can't imagine Kody being here voluntarily.
What was that episode title last season? There's no such thing as a free lunch. These are your coworkers. You have to talk to them. He kicks it off, asking what Meri is up to. She replies that she is busy with her B&B. He asks if that is where she lives now. She flat out tells him she lives in Parowan already.
Okay.
Meri says the reason she went through with a release was because Kody didn't want to work on a relationship anymore. I feel Kody was very explicit on multiple occasions about not wanting to be in a relationship with her. Then again, Kody is very manipulative. He would tell Meri that he wants her to do things based on the situation and not on what he said on TV.
It's not off my radar at all. It's just so different.
How do you mean?
Things that you've said to me and about me this year. It changes
You're
things.
making about what I said. Why can't we get on the page where we're making about where we are instead of about what I say?
So it's very possible she disregards the things he says on the show because he lies to her when they're in person, that they can work things out. I don't know.
I think it's weird that you try to communicate with someone via a TV show. How much of the TV show is actually real and how much of it is just
Performance?
Exactly. And so I think that if Kody was lying to Meri and saying, oh, that's just for the TV show, we can have a good relationship, I think that that would carry weight for Meri, at least for a little while.
Because I do think he strung her along just so that she can contribute to the family pot.
So yeah, I think it's possible that that's what's going on. Either way, I don't think that up until this point, either Meri or Kody have been really honest about their relationship.
That's going to change because Meri is trying really hard to be honest within this exchange.
Yes, it's very impressive.
Kody replies that he did nothing wrong. He was just doing his duty of pretending to be a husband. This was a weird statement for him to declare because he keeps saying, I can just fake it. But in order for you to fake it, you have to know who your audience is. And when you say out loud that you're faking it on TV to the people you're trying to deceive, it sort of negates that performance, that lie.
It doesn't make too much sense what Kody's saying here, because who is he trying to fake out? It's not the people watching the show, because we've heard him repeatedly say that he was going to fake. So it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's hard to keep a secret when you tell millions of people on TV. And also the fact that in order for him to do a performance, he needs to also take action, and he doesn't even do that. Again, Kody, stop giving yourself that much credit. Taking Meri out once a year to Denny's does not count as putting on the act of a husband.
Nope.
He says that Meri should blame herself for him not loving her. He then becomes unhinged and goes, when I'm in love with a woman, that's her fault. So what happens when I'm not in love with a woman? Is that my fault? If I'm passionate about a woman, want to serve her, rub her feet, want to carry her groceries, want to buy her jewelry to make her feel special all the time, when I'm in love with a woman, that is her fault. What is he trying to say here? That his own actions are never his fault?
I mean, I think I kind of get where Kody's coming from here, but he still doesn't come out looking like sunshine and rainbows on the other side.
Like beer and Skittles.
Like beer and Skittles. Kody, you should have just let the women loose and told them that you weren't in love with them. You weren't doing anybody any favors by just stringing them along.
It's a wonder how Kody was able to manage this charade for as long as he did.
He's just coming apart at the seams.
Meri is composed. She doesn't place blame. She just wants to acknowledge the fact Kody said verbatim that he wasn't interested in continuing a relationship with her.
Yes, Meri is going real strong in making sure she's getting the confirmation she needs and is avoiding all of the bull.
Even this observation upsets Kody. He doesn't want to own up to his very words.
That is why you fail, Kody.
Meri tries to bring up how hurtful it is to suggest a performance is good enough for anyone. Kody's fragile ego cannot take this. He is upset that Meri is trying to make him accountable of things he said on TV. This is the same kind of tantrum we've seen from him in the season 18 finale.
No, I feel like Kody and I are in a good place. He was over the other day. We had a good conversation, but I feel like he's not as in a good of a place. And I don't know if it's me or if it's something else going on.
It's blame.
I'm not meaning to blame you, Kody.
Then just don't.
What did I say that made you feel like I was blaming you?
Just you brought up things I've said and things that I've done.
Right.
She's saying...
That feels like blame.
She's saying...
This situation, this interaction between Kody and Meri, it really comes off as that Kody is playing checkers, but Meri is playing chess. She is not in a position to lose, but Kody is desperately trying to not lose because he's so insecure.
Meri is so over it at this point that she can do nothing but win. Meri stops the discussion, saying she did not intend for this to turn into an argument. It's apparent that Kody still thinks Meri is the passive-aggressive, prickly woman from 5 to 6 years ago. It's obvious that she has worked on herself within the time they were separated, which is why she's able to be more mindful and patient when interacting with him. But he still thinks she's raring for a fight, so he's very antagonistic when he's with her. So obnoxious.
Kody is extremely reactive. He's constantly on the defensive, and so when there's nobody attacking him, he just comes off as being extremely insecure and petty.
I can imagine that Kody was prepping for this scene to be a screaming match, and he's extremely ill-equipped to deal with the situation, because Meri is being very calm and demure.
And he is being very confused.
The one thing Meri wants from Kody is for him to acknowledge that they both contributed to the bad marriage. Kody asks how they should move forward together. Meri is understandably confused. Why should they do anything together?
Meri, that was perfect.
The insecure man brings up the phone call from their church elders. He complains some more that the narrative of him abandoning Meri is false since he didn't do that. Instead of arguing that he did abandon her, Meri says Kody could have drove to Utah and defended himself to their church elders.
And the fact that he didn't is a huge indicator that he had abandoned her.
Kody thinks Meri moved too quickly in petitioning a release. She is perplexed, saying this divorce was more than a decade in the making. It was a slow and painful process.
Kody, nobody who watches this show thought that this was going too fast.
We were all expecting this by the end of season 5. The man-child repeats his stance that he cannot divorce a woman, but the wife can divorce him. Meri rejects this, asking him who told him that.
Good question.
Kody insists it was the church leaders when they called about the termination. Someone in my comments wrote about the YouTuber Notes to Self 444. Her name is Melanie, and she's an ex-AUB member. According to my commenter, Melanie claims men in the AUB can seek releases from wives. Her father is the current prophet and was the one that gave Meri her release. Men aren't trapped in their marriages. I wish I knew what video Melanie said that in. This is the same thing Benjamin said. So again, Kody is lying about not having options about divorce.
Or maybe he's just completely wrong and he's never fact-checked himself.
That would be hilarious. So back to the conversation. Meri calls BS on Kody's declaration and says she wished he released her years ago. Kody repeats his same old excuses, that he felt no alternative but to stick it out with Meri. For some reason, he brings up Sonny and Cher's divorce, which occurred when he was 6, as traumatic for him, so he could not do that to Meri.
Apparently, Kody has a traumatic fear of divorce. Kody can say, that's the reason at the time I didn't let you go, but I'm sorry about it now and that was the wrong decision. But the problem is he keeps sticking by his logic and reasoning.
Oh, we'll get to more reasons as to why he didn't want to divorce Meri. He starts acting a bit nutty, saying he knew damn well he didn't want to be in a relationship with Meri, nor Janelle, and was glad Christine was brave enough to leave him first. Okay, I heard the reasons why he didn't want to be with Meri. What was wrong with Janelle? I thought he wanted to fix things between them. I don't know when this confessional was filmed because he is just all over the place this season.
That's also a good point. These could be from interviews years apart, but I think that Janelle was always supposed to be the easy wife. He didn't need to put much effort into maintaining that relationship, and also he doesn't get much from the relationship with Janelle. And then the second that Janelle started making any kind of demands from him, just made his relationship with her go sour, and that resentment compounded over time to absolute disdain, and that's my best guess why he doesn't like Janelle.
I mean, Janelle was the easy wife, and she could do polygamy just fine, and the fact that Kody screwed this up is,
pathetic?
Kody does what he does best. He triangulates his relationships. This time, he juxtaposes his marriage with Meri against Janelle's, Christine's, and Robin's. Now, Kody says his marriages to Christine and Janelle were good in order to portray Meri as the problem.
Yeah.
He insinuates that Janelle and Christine didn't survive being in this family due to Meri. This is insane. Kody, you do realize you're the common denominator to all these women? They explicitly said they left because of things you did.
Or didn't do.
He continues absolving culpability by saying he should have left Meri too, but 25 years sooner.
I mean, honest? He probably should have.
Meri voices she only stuck it out for as long as she did due to her own commitment. She could have left sooner, at any time. Kody finally discloses why he decided to put wives out to pasture instead of divorcing them. If you abandon a wife, the church doesn't allow you to marry more.
That's an interesting thing to say, Kody.
This was a conundrum we brought up in season 18.
What I'm getting at is that all three of these people are caught up in the label of who's leaving who. Maybe there's an aspect or repercussion to their religion that is not being mentioned.
That's what I'm thinking too. There's some sort of other level going on here.
Maybe the husband gets demoted, he doesn't get to be in the celestial kingdom permanently, or he loses his license to practice polygamy if it says on their church records that he divorced a wife.
Kody goes, leadership won't allow you to marry again if you're discarding wives. Kody sort of alluded to that in the pilot episode.
I like to reward good behavior, so if you're good with one marriage, they figure you'll be good with two. I hope they think I'll be good with four.
In that the church rewards good behavior by allowing righteous men to have multiple marriages. This argument of the church won't allow him to marry more women if he abandons a wife does not work for 2022 because he just stated 3 episodes ago that he doesn't align with the AUB church anymore. So why would he care of possibly ruining his chances to marry more women?
It's an interesting excuse 20 years ago, but it's not a very good excuse now.
I guess he is probably still stringing her along because of the mark of shame, or, again, who is this audience he's so fearful of?
I think that a big part of Kody's ego is that he has all these women, and if he loses them, his identity will be shattered. The same way that Robin loves to talk about her identity as a polygamist is now shattered into 1,000 pieces. It's weak. It comes off as really pathetic.
All Kody needs to do is admit that he made the wrong decision, but he can't, which is why he's trapped in this anger cycle. Another reason why Kody refused to divorce himself from a wife he hated was due to perceiving that as the norm. All of his polygamist buddies were in terrible marriages themselves, so he thought he could weather this out. So many thoughts going through my mind. Wow, so you had the knowledge that every polygamist in your community was toxic. yet you still decided to go on TV and say this was a legit lifestyle.
Maybe he thought it was. Maybe he thought that it was normal to spend time with a whole bunch of women that you didn't care about, and that that's what every man on the planet did, because that's what everybody told him that they were going through. Maybe that's how it works, I guess.
That unhappiness is the norm? That's really sad.
No, it is. It's more obvious that that's going to be the case in a polygamist family, right? The chance of having a relationship that is super easy and is never in any way difficult, those odds go way down when you start adding additional wives.
Yeah, because they have to deal with the jealousy. They have to deal with sharing you.
Or just dealing with the fact that these are additional people that you may or may not get along with.
The charlatan continues. He only realized his first 3 marriages weren't healthy due to being married to Robin. He describes his last marriage as having deep emotional intimacy. He gesticulates this concept to us. He then gets even more crude, saying the OG relationships were defined by F and F and fighting. He says, quote, "These actions don't create intimacy, that just creates orgasms."
Boo. I didn't need to hear you say that, Kody.
It's funny for him to think that he has created that for any woman.
Oh, he didn't say anything about creating it for any.
Oh, for himself.
It's necessary for the man to create all those children.
Mm-hmm.
I almost don't want to touch it. How far we've gone in this show from I sure love my wives to this. Kody, no.
Kody, gross. The delusional man tries to point out that Meri was the wrong person. So, nothing is his fault.
I mean, even when Meri said that both of them were at fault, she still admitted that she was at fault. Mm-hmm. But he can't take any culpability. It's his favorite word, but he doesn't know what it means.
Nope. Oh, remember when he said that?
I did nothing to Gabriel and Garrison but try to make them accountable. Accountability is something that Janelle and Christine do not know anything about.
Apparently he thinks culpability is Kody's never wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's true, then yeah, they don't know what that means.
He doesn't know if he married the wrong person due to a short courtship or because of clashing personalities. He just knows that they have different timestamps of when they knew they weren't for each other.
Okay, that's real. That's honest.
He cannot philosophize any of this.
He sure wants to use the word philosophize, though.
Mm-hmm. Meri takes in a deep breath, trying to take in the absurdity of Kody's responses. She tries to empathize with her ex's internal struggles. She is at peace whilst he is still coming to terms with the situation.
Meri is in a position where Kody cannot hurt her, and so that's why she's in a position of such strength in this conversation.
Conversation sort of takes a turn. Kody then tells Meri that he actually likes her now. He emphasizes that he didn't for the last 6 years. I don't understand why he's saying this.
I do, because that's how I felt during this conversation.
You like Meri now?
Yes, Meri was calm, collected. She spoke clearly with well-defined terms, and she was non-combative. Those are all the things that Meri is usually not. And so, yeah, I can see if I was Kody, if this was the Meri that I could have, I'd be thinking, wow, she's so level-headed, and wow, she's so emotionally intelligent here. I kind of like this Meri. I get where Kody's coming from. That doesn't mean he deserves this Meri, because he doesn't.
No, Kody is emotionally lazy, and he doesn't deserve a Meri who has been through the emotional hell to get to where she is.
Maybe you should look at the things that you like about Meri here and try to emulate them. Maybe that would fix every problem. Oh my gosh, just imagine if Kody, after this conversation with Meri, he says, oh boy, I need to change my whole way of looking at things. I think he could fix his whole family in a week and a half.
Because he would have come to a place of acceptance. But no, it's impossible because the man is so insecure. He insists that Meri attend Christmas at his house due to Robin's wishes. He flip-flops again, implying he usually disregards Robin's wishes because he doesn't like Meri. Goodness.
That was a really interesting thing for Kody to say. Still have to think on that.
Meri argues that Kody is always loyal to Robin. He denies that, saying he is a man of his own mind. A fragmented mind.
A damaged mind.
But a mind nonetheless. Kody is sort of right in this instance. He doesn't always do what Robin tells him. If that were the case, he would have done what she ordered him to do during the snow scene. But here we are, 2 years later, and he still hasn't repaired any of his relationships.
Kody is not loyal to Robin so much as Kody is loyal to the Robin that is telling him to be loyal to himself.
So, a Robin that enables him to do what he wants.
And therefore, there's no loyalty at all.
Because we used to say Kody is loyal to Robin, but let's be real. Kody is only out for a number one.
He picks and chooses.
Depending on what's easiest.
Yeah, whatever's easiest at the moment.
Meri wraps up the conversation by saying she and Kody are exes and he should no longer be concerned about her. She just wishes he knew how amazing she has become. He has nothing to say but bon voyage. Geez, that's the most you can say after 3 decades and a child.
He does say, hey, I hope things work out for you, I guess. That was a little bit, well, who am I kidding? That was a lot more positivity than I was expecting from Kody in this situation.
It's like he's saying, see ya, don't want to be ya.
See you later, alligator.
He doesn't like how all these divorces have created all these contemptuous enemies. He is saddened by that and doesn't know what the future holds.
I think that Kody is able to get to this place with Meri, but not the other wives, because Meri has so very few children.
Really?
There's not so much baggage attached to it. Whereas he wouldn't be able to do the same thing for Janelle, because he still blames Janelle for all the things that the sons do. And things like that, a little bit. I don't know, that's just an idea.
So because there are still children that are mad at him, he can't be in full fellowship with Janelle?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what he means when he says contemptuous enemies kind of thing. I don't know, that was just a thought I had.
Okay.
Well, anyway.
You think Leon has forgiven him for the stuff that he has done?
I don't think Kody's thinking about Leon.
Really? Okay.
Nobody's ever asked Kody about Leon. We've asked him about Maddie. We've asked him about a whole bunch of his kids.
That's probably because Leon doesn't want to be mentioned at all.
Yeah, probably.
We don't know what goes on in that part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so end of episode.
We start off by seeing how Christmas went for each of the Brown families. And then we hear them all talk about how they miss having big Christmases. We have a segment about Christine meeting David that is full of awkward Tony statements. Janelle also appeared in this episode. And we see Meri in a very good place making Kody look like a child.
So, thank you, Tim. Thank you for making it all the way through. We will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Well, Kody's down to one wife, and he's feeling kind of blue. Lost 3 out of 4, didn't have a clue. Says it's all their fault, but we know the score. Ain't easy being Kody, no more wives at his door. Oh, Kody, Kody, what you get yourself into? 3 wives have left you, now you